This is welcome back to another episode. Let's Be Real podcast. Yeah, what more can you say? The result was what was important. The scoreline was a bit flattering, but we'll get into it. We'll have games like this from now until the end of the season. We knew what we were getting with supporting Madrid. Growing up, we just get the job done. Although that wasn't exactly the case. While me and Mo were growing up, we had a bit more flair to our game. But big up the chat, big up everyone who supported Doris in the watch along as well. It takes a lot to sit through the game, especially a game like that. It wasn't as bad as Leipzig, but still, pick up Doris for crowd control, especially. She'll be doing this consistently for the rest of the season. So yeah, watch out for her. Watch alongs, man. But yeah, big up our partners, Manscaped. You know the drill. LBI20 to get 20% off and free shipping on manscaped.com. They're the pioneers of below the waist grooming, but they have a whole catalog of products ranging from deodorants, loungewear, you name it. This is the perfect excuse to give something back to the pod. You guys have been asking for years. Is there a way to send some love to you guys? So here it is. And yeah, LBI20 is your golden key. All right, talk to me, Mo. How is the vibe? How was your weekend to start off?
Man, before I start off, I want to make sure my mic is working because we had a big boo-ha-ha when we did the big three thing. So I just want to make sure everybody, you can
it's
hear
perfect.
me.
It's perfect. Yeah. The chat just let Mo know if there's any
hiccups. Yeah, I think the chat.
I don't like him being so insecure, quote unquote. But go on.
I think the chat especially knows my mic and sometimes do funny stuff. So I just want to make sure everybody can hear me. But yeah, man. Overall, weekend. Talking about the weekend. I mean, I had a pretty relaxing weekend, I guess. Like overall, had some plans, could not achieve them. So here we are today watching Real Madrid play against Celta Vigo, and I guess the game was, like you said, a little bit disappointing in the first half. Like towards the end, it kind of heated up and it got better. Overall, I mean, you go away happy, especially when Arda Güler scores a goal. This is the moment that we've been waiting for since like me. I have been waiting for since July. So overall, I'm pretty happy and go away and I guess with satisfied feelings. 4-0 Arda Güler scores. What more can you ask for?
That's it. Arda Güler's goal is the only takeaway. Yeah, only main takeaway you can have.
I mean, I definitely do have the takeaways, but yeah, like for the positive things, yeah, for me, Arda Güler scoring is something I really wanted to see, so I'm happy that it happened.
Right. I think your video just lagged for a second, but I have your back. That's what is important.
I think for my end, you're kind of like closing and going.
Right. Now? Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay. Back. So I think it was something on my end. But yeah, man, I have the same feelings. Honestly, if the last couple of goals, I mean, the third goal is insignificant. It wasn't really our doing per se.
No, am I back? Yeah, you're back.
Yeah, okay. Like you said, Arda scoring, makes the world of difference for me. My mood and, how I kind of reflect back upon this game. But where do you really, begin to kind of break down the game? The first half was, like I always say, for the past 3 or 4 weeks, we have been very pedestrian the way we attack. We don't really have a cutting edge to, what we do. Yes, there is intent, which wasn't there against Leipzig. Whoa, that's a W, some might say, but not for me. You know, um, we should have the intent from the get go against any sides. If you guys had the pleasure of watching some of the fan cams, from post Leipzig, people right after watching the game, people who watched the game inside the stadium felt the same thing, right? Like we just lacked that initiative. Today we lack that initiative in a different sense, where shots were taken from poor angles or shots were taken with less conviction than less conviction than someone who's gardening, someone who's basically looking to plow a plot of grass. I'm telling you, it was just routine stuff people were attempting at, especially guys like Rodrigo, Brahim, even guys who I expect to pull some superb moves, out of thin air and try to force the issue. It wasn't happening. Maybe it was because they knew Celta were gonna give us chance after chance, which was the case. We had, like, I don't know, 15, 16 shots throughout the game, but how many of them were actually of high XG? I'm not an XG guy, but how many of them were high quality chances? That was my main gripe. But yeah, there were a good few shining lights. Let's start with the positives at least. Kamba Mo
No, I mean, I
again.
think before we go to the positives, I'd just like to kind
Mm.
of chime in into what you were saying about
Oh,
the
fair. Go
chance
on.
creation. For me personally,
Go
I
on.
felt that what Celta did well was the fact that they closed down the vertical space for Real Madrid. They totally
100%.
compressed us and confined us to the midfield area, and they their defenders pushed up, and there was actually no space to play in between the lines. So for
Mm.
me, Real Madrid were hurt because of that. And there's also this theme that Real Madrid has been going through, especially without Jude Bellingham this season, is the fact that when he's in there isn't anybody who's occupying the central areas. Somebody who can play in behind and all of those things that you expect from a attacking midfielder. I think towards the start of the season, I kind of said that Jude Bellingham was struggling to do those attacking midfielder things, and Brahim was doing them well. But now I think the script has been flipped. Jude Bellingham is truly showing his quality, and Brahim, I think, after the way he started the season, he hasn't really kept that up, especially in games he started. And I think it wouldn't be too scandalous to say that Brahim
Is
hasn't been his best version ever.
Sorry to interrupt you. Like, on that point, let me just add something. Is it scandalous to say that that's down to coaching? If different players
For
at
me,
different phases of the same season is doing the exact
I mean, I,
things.
I don't really know what's going on in the coaching, but for me, tactically, I think Rafa Benitez prepared well today.
Mm.
Given the fact that they totally compressed the space and left no space for us to play. But then I think Ancelotti and Real Madrid kind of adapted well because at the start of the game, Rodrigo and Vini were pretty wide, and Brahim was the central guy. But like as the game went on, especially in the first half, towards the end of the first half, Rodrigo and Vini started to being narrower, and Brahim started drifting out wide to the left. So I mean, they made some changes. They reacted to it, and I think they did well. But overall, when you come to it, I think you're mentioning Brahim struggling, Rodrigo struggling, and all those things. And could it be due to coaching issues? I mean, I'm not sure. Personally, it could be, but for me, honestly, I think that I said it at the start of the season. Yeah, Brahim is somebody who struggles to keep his form throughout the season. He struggles to maintain the same levels that he shows like from one game to the other. So
Mm.
I mean, I'm not really surprised that his form has sort of leveled off. But the thing is, like, he hasn't been really helped when Rodrigo and when he plays with them, because I think he kind of likes playing off of somebody who can occupy the central areas. When Joselu came on, I felt that Brahim's performances improved in the game, especially in the second half. So yeah, I can't really put it down to him being bad or him not being
Yeah.
capable. I just think that there's a system issue. And when Joselu came on, suddenly the vertical space also improved for us, because having a striker or somebody who can pin the
So
opponent.
that's my question more, right? Like, having Rodrigo and Vinicius, yes, on paper they should be the best 11 we put out,
I
right?
mean, Rodrigo and Vinicius do well when you're playing with Bellingham, but I think without a central presence, somebody who can make those runs in behind, I think they
Mm.
struggle a little bit, especially because this season, I think Rodrigo has been totally been asked to play on the right, by
Yeah.
Ancelotti. So when you're suddenly changing it and asking him to play within like weeks, go and play centrally, I think it doesn't just work out. So for me, I can understand why Rodrigo playing centrally hasn't given us the best results but for overall, I think this game especially, Ancelotti should have gone with Joselu as a starter instead of Brahim, because Joselu can do that. He can pin defenders in the opponent's box and create some space for the midfielders to do their job. And Rodrigo and Vinicius would have like enjoyed playing in the spaces that the striker creates. And I think in the 21-22 season, me and Farouk used to have these discussions a lot, especially about Manchester City. I used to say that City don't really have a striker, so they struggle with that. And Farouk sometimes felt that we could have Rodrigo playing in those areas, in those central areas, and that would work for us. But I kind of was like not a big fan of it. And I mean, I kind of feel like whenever we play with a striker right now, we do play better, especially with Joselu. And I mean, Bellingham kind of negates, like sometimes he covers it up, but Bellingham is a player of a different quality. You don't really see that with Brahim. So for me, I think Real Madrid definitely need to sign a striker in next season. Maybe Mbappe comes, maybe Haaland comes, maybe somebody else comes, without going too much into the names. But I think Real Madrid definitely do need that, because in games like these, we definitely need a presence in these central areas.
In my opinion, every game we need a central presence.
Yeah,
like, I mean, just Jude Bellingham is not enough. Like, yes, that was basically plugging the gap for a second, especially early season when the pressure wasn't really in, and players were playing with a bit, a bit more intensity and a lot more stamina left in their gas tank. They were really, because let's be honest, this formation requires a lot of running, a lot of hard yards. You can't really rely on the shape to bail you out in this formation, especially the forwards.
And I also think another important aspect of the way we are playing right now, even like ignoring the formations, is the fact that we rely a lot on combination plays. But when this particular lineup plays, Brahim, Rodrigo, Vinicius, I sometimes feel that every time in every play you sometimes feel a man short. Nobody is coming up for like this. This especially needs somebody running in from the midfield and combining with when Vinicius and Rodrigo combine the third player. And I think Brahim sometimes falls short on that. So while Bellingham kind of does it, and Bellingham seems to have a good understanding with Vinicius. As the season has gone on, he has kind of developed that understanding. So for me, somehow, for some reason, we always seem to be lacking in the central area, especially ever since Bellingham got injured. So I think that is an area Real Madrid definitely need to improve. And whoever Real Madrid choose to be the striker next season, if they do go ahead and sign a player, then it has to be somebody who's like comfortable combining with Vinicius and Rodrigo. Because combination plays the way Real Madrid are gonna play in the future. I mean, that's pretty set. You cannot go back from that, because this particular team, the whole spine, the how to get the best out of Bellingham, how to get the best out of Vinicius, all the other players. So combination around the box are the ways to go. That is how you open up defenses, especially defenses who sit back, defend deep. You kind of need them, and even teams like what Celta were doing today. Teams that close down the vertical space and not allow you to play in between the lines. So I think that is the way to go, and Real Madrid, whoever they sign, has to be somebody who's like comfortable playing that style of football.
That was very evident, by the way, how Vasquez, basically had to be our, biggest outlet down the right. Him combining with Brahim, him combining with Rodrigo, combining with Fede was how we basically got our, best streak of chances, especially in the first half.
And I mean, even Joselu, when he comes on, we kind of give we kind of like try to, I mean, personally, like I think I do it. We kind of try to put Joselu in a hole where you think that he's a box presence, so cross the ball into him and he's gonna score. But even that, without it, I think the coaching team seems to have worked a lot with him, in his combinations, because I've seen this many times in the season. I sometimes feel, oh man, this guy's job is to be in the box, but he's not being there because he's trying to combine. He's trying to blend himself into that style of play, and I kind of appreciate Joselu for that, and I kind of appreciate the whole the coaching team and everything behind it, because they're trying to fit the players that they have, and I think we need to praise them for this.
I'll praise them for this when we have a string of games where we start with intent and basically finish off the teams by halftime. That's what we need, especially at least in La Liga at home. We need that kind of a blitz mode to stand a chance in the Champions League. Let's be honest. Yes, we can scrape
I
two
think
games.
That is difficult to say because we don't really have a proven top. in the attack, we don't have a player who's gonna be like the first goal scorer. I mean, Vinicius, he's good, but I kind of feel like he can be your secondary goal scorer, but he's never gonna be your primary goal scorer. He needs somebody alongside him, like somebody like before that there was Benzema. When Benzema was there, Vinicius had his best season. So, whenever Benzema was playing, Vinicius was like Vinicius was highlighted. He even became even better. So for me, he kind of needs that kind of a player. So for me personally, I think Real Madrid definitely need a primary goal scorer, because if you look at the goals this season, before this game, Real Madrid has scored we've scored around the same number of goals as Barcelona has. So I mean, Barcelona has been struggling this season. So you definitely need a player of quality who can come in and score the goals. And I think in the summer we definitely need to sign a player like that.
No, I get the grievances, man. Like I'm not watching Real Madrid for the first time this season, right? Like we all know how we have gone back and forth regarding the striker situation. Yes, it's something that is kind of it's kind of out of the box to ask, basically, to produce goals out of nothing. But let's be honest, right? Like what Farooq would say, City, a couple of years ago, they used to play without a striker. Yes, completely different profile of players, a different system, a different kind of a manager who had a very set plan as to how to kind of approach games, basically. But what I would basically require
even then
the
they
team,
had a recognized striker, right? They had Gabriel Jesus. We don't have for me personally, I think we are not even starting with a Gabriel Jesus kind of player.
Gabriel
he might not be
Jesus
the best player, but he's still a profile. And what we're doing, we're starting with Brahim when Bellingham is injured. So there's a difference.
he's as good as a profile of a striker as what Brahim or Jude would do.
Man,
That is it.
Come on.
Gabriel Jesus is good.
Jude, okay, I
let's
kind of
not-
get it. Jude is making runs from the deep and giving a presence in the box, but Brahim definitely not, man.
I don't know. I expect a lot. Let's be honest. Like, fuck the coaching side of things. Fuck what personnel we have. Right. I need better output from our players. Right. Whether it be getting into better positions, making better decisions, when to shoot, when not to shoot. Simple stuff like that, I reckon, would fetch us more goals. Like I don't know if it like black magic would be the answer to get to that point. But when I watch games, I'm not a professional. I'm not a coach. I'm not a guy who played at the top level, right? I haven't played in the Primera Division. But what I can say from years of watching our own great sides, yes, there's one major difference. They had quality goal scorers, and this team doesn't. Provided we can still do much, much better. We don't have to look so toothless against sides, like with less than quarter of the budget we have, right? And definitely the quality in the gap in quality as well comes into play. Guys like Rodrigo, how many times does he shoot straight at the keeper? I don't get it, man. Like, it's not all down to Carlo as well. He's kind of trying to get them into very good positions. But what the fuck is Rodrigo on about? Like, I don't know. Like, I can't defend him no more. Honestly, more like isn't this a significant case of someone who is just lost all confidence?
In the previous episode, I've said this, like, Rodrigo starting to worry me with his finishing, and I kind of felt like there were some signs today as well where I felt that he could have finished better, but then there were certain situations where where I think that he was in a better position to score. He was like in a position where he had to take a shot with his left foot, he didn't really have the time to take a shot with his favored foot and stuff like that, where he could place the ball, or even he didn't really have the time to do that. So for me, overall, I kind of felt like Rodrigo was decent today. If he had scored a goal, I mean, we would be having a different conversation about him. But the thing is, like, today, I kind of, in the last episode, I said Rodrigo, he's off form. He's just trying to do what might get him the goal, something that might get him the goal. That is what he's trying to do. But today, I felt like he kind of, he was more motivated to combine with Vinicius and the others. As compared to the
combination down the left,
as compared to the previous game. So for me today, I was kind of like happy about that aspect of Rodrigo's game. But then when you say Rodrigo didn't score, I mean, you have a completely valid point. I think we definitely need a goal scorer.
Ferre pass to Rodrigo. Rodrigo in his element would put it top corner. I don't know what he's doing.
We definitely need better from Rodrigo, especially when it comes inside the penalty box. And I've said this before as well. Real Madrid, how far they go in Europe is going to depend a lot on how much, what kind of form Rodrigo comes in towards the important games of the season. So for me, this Real Madrid side will go as far as Rodrigo, takes them. I mean, Rodrigo is not somebody who's going to raise the floor of this team, but Rodrigo is definitely a player who can help raise the ceiling of this team.
See, that's the biggest gripe I have, Basically, Vinny, we all know, yes, he has had how many? 10 goals, I think, in 2024. Decent return for a winger, playing out of position at the front too, right? It's good, it's decent, right? But going couple years back, or going back even last year, we thought Rodrigo was the better finisher, who basically, um, if your life depended on it and two players are running one on one, you would bet on Rodrigo to save your life, right? That's not exactly the case, and that's my biggest gripe. Like, I can't really get past it. When I watch games, I look at Rodrigo, and he seems to look like a player who just doesn't know how he can get the next rubber the green, who basically, like you said, is looking for ways to just finish and let off steam. That shouldn't be
I
the
mean, when you go a
the
certain
agenda.
run of games without scoring a goal, I mean that's natural. The pressure is going to build up, build up, build up. I think it's going to be there. We saw it happen to Lewandowski at the early in the season. We had this talk
Yeah.
with Hafid from Barcelona. I said the same thing to him. Lewandowski, once he gets that one particular goal, his performances will improve, and they improved. As soon as he got his goal. So for Rodrigo, I can't expect the same thing. Once he gets that goal, that relieves a little bit pressure off him. I think his performances, especially in front of the goal, will improve. But then I think Rodrigo kind of needs to work on adding that consistency. Like you said, till last season, everybody would have said Rodrigo is the better finisher. I mean, I personally felt that Rodrigo was more comfortable inside the box, more composed, and had his head on his shoulder, did not lose it, and did not try to rush things. But this season, especially, he has done it. I think for me, watching this game, what I felt was like, if Benzema hadn't been there this season, I think Rodrigo's performances would have been better, because Benzema could have maybe guided him a little bit better, tried to make him understand, taking the pressure off of him. This season, with Vini and Rodrigo suddenly being the primary strikers, I think they are feeling the pressure of it. Without a guy like Benzema, maybe even, let's just ignore the name and let's imagine an experienced striker being there. That probably would have helped them guide them through this rough stretch, especially Rodrigo. But it isn't there, and I mean, these guys have to adapt. And I think Real Madrid paid a lot of money to get them here, and Real Madrid kind of believe in them being the players they can. Believe in what kind of players these guys can be. Now it's up to them to show it. This is Real Madrid. This isn't some random club. So if they don't show it, I mean, I'm sorry to say, Rodrigo's career at Real Madrid might end prematurely. I don't want this to happen. You don't want this to happen. I don't think anybody who's supposed to Real Madrid wants this to happen. But now it is up to Rodrigo. He needs to keep his head on his shoulders, stay calm, and somehow show us what he's got.
My question is, I know this is coming from a layman, right? Guys who support the club instead of running the club, right? I know this is in FIFA to basically tear up the tactics board and basically start anew, right? I'm not asking to really do that, but games like this against home, against the Celta side, who hasn't been great, right? Let's be honest, they're just bang average, or you could even say below fucking average, right? Why can't we come up with a plan? Yes, we have deployed the 4-3-3 in various points of games where we need to make a comeback or try to change things. Go with the 4-3-3, right? I know Joselu, when he has started in some games, we have come on here during the post match and basically looked back on that particular game and thought to ourselves, is he really A tier or S tier quality? No, right? But we kind of give him a platform to basically build confidence and kind of gain some momentum. What if 4-3-3 is the answer in at least the big games? Like, looking at this diamond formation, I had high hopes, right? Early in the season, and you guys were very keen to bring me back down to earth. But I was adamant, no, this is the secret recipe, man. This recipe is gonna basically be our golden ticket to success this year. But the more I look at how we play, right, the more we look at how much we gain from this, at least offensively. Yes, defensively, you can say like we are one of the best teams in Europe. Like, we have conceded very, very less amount of goals as compared to what we would have expected this team to. But why can't we go with the 4-3-3, man? Just go back to the roots in some games and try to kind of have an alternative. If it comes to a crunch tie, we have that in the arsenal. Like, we have players who are back familiar with that being deployed on the pitch. Like, I can watch for it basically by saying that we can be so much more expansive playing in the 4-3-3.
I think
I need to hear your thoughts on that.
I think personally, it is kind of it is kind of Ancelotti rewarding Brahim. I mean, there is no other way to look at it. Brahim is somebody who's forced his way into the team. When the season started, I felt that Brahim was like literally last choice in the attack, even behind Arda. But this guy is like kind of propelled himself to be second, like first sub, the first guy behind Rodrigo and Vinicius, and then maybe Bellingham. If we kind of imagine Bellingham to be an attacker as well. So he's the first change guy. He's the guy who, whenever somebody gets injured, he comes in. And the good thing for Ancelotti is the fact that he doesn't really need to tinker too much with his tactics, because Bellingham is Brahim is like an attacking midfielder. So the rational thing to do, and based on what we have seen so far this season, the thing is to reward Brahim and give him a chance to play his natural game. So I kind of understand why they're sticking with it, and I think they kind of believe in the system a lot. So changing formations isn't something they might want to do, but I mean, I understand this, especially towards the start of the game and towards the start of this podcast as well. I said I kind of felt that Real Madrid was squeezed vertically, and if they had started a player like Joselu today, I mean, I felt that especially if he had started with a player like Joselu today, more of vertical space would have been created, more chances to play along between the lines, and more chances to open up Celta. And I kind of felt that when Joselu came on, he kind of did it. So I would give credit to Ancelotti for recognizing it, but then I kind of felt like the substitutes were a little bit too late, because I think Joselu came around the 70th minute. So probably could have brought him on sooner. And overall, I don't really have an answer for you, because we will probably have
the coaching team. Let me put it this way as well, right? Like, if you look at it from the other side of the spectrum, start Joselu, right? And people would say, oh yeah, like if we start him, like what is the option from the bench? Bring on fucking Alvaro. I know he hasn't been tearing up with the Castilla either. Like, he has been, facing his own adversities, to put it.
But I mean, you make a good point. But the thing is, like, we all know about this Ancelotti, that he's going to use the first team players before he uses the Castilla player. And I kind of felt like that is something that goes to his man management. He has to keep the first team happy. So overall, as long as he can get the job done between, using just the first team player, he's going to do it. I mean, Farouk would say this is what Ancelotti is, and you know what Ancelotti is all about. So I mean, this is how Ancelotti is going to do his thing. So we have to kind of take that into account as well. And I think there's a reason why he's the perfect fit for Real Madrid, because he kind of keeps everyone happy, keeps everyone ticking. And I mean, this is an aspect to it, to keeping everybody happy and keep everybody ticking. So that is probably why he's not going to Castilla. And I mean, you kind of have to give him credit, because he's done well with Real Madrid so far this season, especially getting the results out to this team that has been ravaged by injuries.
But you feel me, right, bro? Like, I've been.
I mean, I agree. I already told you, like, I kind of felt that Joselu should have started.
How much have I defended Carlo, right? Especially with Farouk basically, like waiting with his axe to, rip my head off. How many times have I sat here and basically, said Carlo is doing a brilliant job? We all know that he's doing a brilliant job. I just need a plan B.
Like a hangman or something,
Well, that's a completely different conversation, which I wouldn't, encourage you to have right now. But man, all I'm asking is Don Carlo to have a plan B, honestly. Because I can see very well in the Champions League against elite teams, we are not going to break them down. Simple as. And we're going to concede the same goals we would concede if we are playing in the 4-3-3. So what is the difference? I don't get it.
I think the idea over here especially is the fact that when you play against elite teams, you're going to use a certain style, right? That certain style is going to be 4 defenders, 4 midfielders, 2 attackers. And your 2 attackers are going to be Vinicius and Rodrigo. And then there's going to be Bellingham and 3 other midfielders. So, I think that is why they kind of want the team to get used to totally have some changes and still have those players, get used to those combinations, those, those, let's say, play styles. Certain plays that they need to pull off. So I guess that's why they're sticking with it. I mean, overall, I do agree with you. Especially with games like against teams like these, especially Celta and the other.
Let me be honest. Against Leipzig, our combinations, we try to do combinations, but what kind of
against Leipzig? I'd say this against Leipzig, especially in the second leg, the idea of Ancelotti wasn't about combination. It was about creating a midfield overload and maintaining possession. And I think they utterly failed to do that. That is why they started with 5 midfielders, and they weren't able to accomplish it. And all that ended up happening was the fact that we kind of got.
No, I agree with the. So I agree with the midfield overload part.
The thing is, like, when you play against elite teams, you're also you also have to understand that they can also play football. It's not just Real Madrid who play football. So sometimes it happens. Sometimes you go in with a certain set of tactics. It doesn't work out at all. It didn't work out in that game. Rodrigo came on, still it didn't work out. They tried to change things, it didn't work out. Those kind of games happens. We're just lucky that we got through. I mean, the players realized that they weren't good. Rudiger came out and said that this isn't a win worth, like, this progression isn't worth celebrating because we weren't good. And I completely agree with you when you said that Real Madrid has to do better, especially the quarterfinals. Depending upon who we draw. If we draw a team like Inter, I mean, we're definitely going to struggle because Inter have a great squad, but I mean, they still need to win against Atleti. But if they do qualify and we face off against Inter, I mean, that would be a pretty close game. So I think nobody can be taken lightly in the quarterfinals, but Real Madrid definitely do need to improve. So let's see what happens in the future.
What I meant by the combination bit, earlier while, we were having the conversation, was the fact that combinations, like you said, is how we depend on scoring the goals, right? At a certain point in the game, it became so tense, it became so imperative that unless we find a finish, this might get really, really hairy for us, and pretty quickly, right? Like, after we scored the goal, when they scored, alarm bells went off. Let's be honest. People watching in the stadium, us watching at home, we knew what was coming. Leipzig were going to throw the kitchen sink at it, right? And we couldn't deal with it. So my question is, if we depend on combinations to create stuff, right? We did that against Celta, who basically sat back, gave us the freedom. You come at us and let's see what happens. What if teams play like Leipzig and are basically in our faces? I don't think we can cope. All these combinations, flare tricks, like back heel passes, all of that goes out of the window. People just look shell shocked. I can see that happening.
I think
next month.
The answer to that is letting players get into confidence, letting players get into a rhythm, and that is why Ancelotti is like kind of sticking to that particular style, that particular formation in games like this. So players can play it, get used to the get some repetition under their belt, and get used to it. Because what you're suggesting is like the alternative is like Real Madrid go into every big game playing Joselu as a striker and playing route from football. That's
not every big game. You never know, man. Even Michu,
definitely,
Michu scored 22 goals for Swansea and won them a League Cup. You never know, man. You never know who has.
Are you seriously comparing Swansea to Real Madrid? But
I'm just telling you, man. You never know.
Ignoring that comment, I mean, Ancelotti definitely does have a plan B. That is why he brought Joselu on in the second half, right? I mean, when Joselu first came on, were we expecting him to play this much? We weren't. And still, he's managed. Ancelotti has given him ample goal time. I mean, there's a reason why Joselu has scored like 13 goals, right? So, I mean, Ancelotti definitely does have a plan B. Should he start with his plan B in games like this, especially against teams like Celta? I do agree with it, but I'm sure Ancelotti has a reason why he's doing this. And I mean, yeah, we kind of won 4-0. Was the game against Leipzig a disappointment? He said it was a disappointment. We need to improve on that. But I mean, if anybody can get the team playing a better style, I think it's Ancelotti. And he has shown that, throughout this season, especially given how he has managed the team with the injuries. So, I mean, I would just give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt, Let's just see what happens.
Right. Let me get a few other comments quickly. Big up Ashik was mentioning 2 own goals, consistent misses. Leipzig today, and we'll still look like our midweek selves. A broken week Celta Vigo, against which we scored 1 in the first half and had to rely on 2 own goals. What 2 own goals is he talking about? Is it the Vinny's first goal and then
no, it
Rudiger?
was like the first Rudiger goal and the third goal that Vinny crossed into the box.
Is Rudiger's goal an own goal?
Yeah.
Okay.
He kind of collided off the bar and went off inside. Went off of Bayata inside.
Fair enough. Ashik was also mentioning Rodrigo again wasted opportunities, but we should still start him so that we can miss chances. Makes total sense to me. Honest to God, I never thought a time would come, where basically people are saying that he's a better Rashford or some shit, and then Ashik saying all this. Yeah, it doesn't really sit right with me, man. Like, honestly, like I have these emotional monologues regarding Rodrigo. I hope he's fucking listening to this and doing something about it. I don't get that confidence from him, anymore. Farooq was mentioning. I couldn't agree more. The score definitely doesn't tell the whole story, right? Ash was also mentioning I like Rodrigo, but when you know that you'll not be competing for your position, then you get too comfortable. No comments. Ash was also saying, sure, Joselu is not a Benzema or a Lewandowski, but he allows the wider players space, which helps more creative and quicker players like Vinny and Brahim. Big up Prince Ate was mentioning Carlo has the hierarchy mentality. Even when his first 11 is not back, he'll not back them It's not it. He'll not back them. He has no plan B today. If you watch City's game, you'd admire the two coaches' tactical level.
I mean, if he didn't have a plan B, he wouldn't bring on Joselu in the second half towards the end. I mean, I kind of don't agree with that.
Man, that is a plan B that that you can go all the way back to grassroots football and associate yourself with.
He can only create what with the players that he has at his disposal. So I mean, I'm not really sure like what kind of.
When you see someone who has played the game at the elite level, won a couple of one Champions League, I think 3 or 4 Serie A titles with Roma.
So let me just put it this way, right? I'm not just going to put it to you. I'm just going to put it to the whole chat. Everybody's talking about like he should alter something. Okay, fine. He takes off Rodrigo. He keeps Brahim. We start with Brahim. Let's say Brahim, Joselu, and whatever. I mean, what kind of play style, what kind of a thing that you expect to change with that? Like, what kind of expectation change, alterations are you expecting in his play style? Like, Prince Harder talked about how City, he tactically, like, Pep is a good coach, definitely have to give it, and Pep and Klopp had like multiple plans, let's say, So what would you do? Okay, you are given these 25 players that Real Madrid have, and what kind of changes would you make?
I would straight up call someone with the profile of Joselu, so that Joselu, when he doesn't start,
then you don't have a plan B. What you're doing is like you essentially playing the same style of football, only you're switching out players and hoping that Alvaro plays better.
Man, the fucking plan A with Rodrigo and Vinny is absolutely shite.
Fine. So now you're agreeing that there's a plan A, there's a plan B. So Ancelotti does have variations.
I'm not talking about him having a plan A or plan B. I'm just talking about how he should basically have a system where someone like Joselu can also thrive in.
I mean, he
not in the last 20 minutes.
He makes changes when there needs to be a change, right?
Man, really, you watch it first half and you think Rodrigo and Vinny
fine. The thing is
going
like
to bail us out.
You keep talking about the first half. I kind of agree with you, but the thing is like you also have to give credit to Celta with what they did, right? You saw the game. Did you see okay, fine. If you guys go and rewatch the game, rewatch the highlights, and notice how high Celta's backline was.
Fair enough. Yeah, I guess the standards have to be dropped with what we
I mean, it's not about dropping standards. The thing is, like, the coach altered the way we were playing, right? He realized that they're kind of compressing us, so we need to be narrower, we need to be more aggressive, and they kind of used it, And the whole reason why I felt like Lucas started today was the fact that he gives you more going forward. So, they kind of tried to adapt it, and even in the mid-game, there were some changes. When they don't make it, when games like Rayo happen, I am open to criticizing Ancelotti, but to come here and say, Ancelotti is not doing anything, Ancelotti doesn't really have an alternative, I don't think that's fair on him.
Fair enough. Right? Yeah. What makes this game what it is people having different observations of the same thing. So, yeah, I'm superly, disappointed in how, especially with the turn of the year and how our performances have dwindled. Let's be honest. It's absolutely utter drab, right? And we weren't like this.
Okay, here's the thing. When we had this post match after Girona game, I remember Javier was here and he said that when we are gonna play against the lower teams of La Liga, I think he kind of referenced to the Rayo game. You can't expect Real Madrid to be let's say if the Girona game was Real Madrid giving 120%. When we play against Rayo, Real Madrid is going to be at 70% or 60%. And this is kind of expected because, the players are not going to play 120% every game. That's definitely not going to happen. First, we don't have a deep squad, okay? A lot of players got injured. I mean, okay, fine. At the beginning of the season with everybody fit, maybe we have a decent enough squad. But once everybody gets injured, the same players have to play game in, game out, right? There is a fatigue that builds in. So you kind of expect performances like these. So you just have to take it in the stride. And I mean, at every game, Real Madrid is not going to play 120%. Real Madrid is not going to play 150%. There are going to be games where Real Madrid is going to play 50%. There's going to be a stretch of the season where Real Madrid is going to struggle. But the thing is, like, it is important that we arrive towards the end of the season in good form. And right now, we are struggling a little bit. When you say that Real Madrid need to improve their performances, especially going into the later halves of the Champions League, and given the fact that we're only 8 points ahead, like 7 points ahead of Girona, whatever it is, we need to keep our form and we need to watch out for our backs. And I think that is definitely a valid point, and Real Madrid definitely do need to improve. But I kind of understand why they're struggling. But I hope, at the same time, because I know these players are capable of more, that as the season goes on, they'll get better.
I'm into that, right? I guess it's a perfect excuse for the ad break. No, pick up Manscaped, pick up Doris, always.
It's time to talk about Manscaped again. So, ever since we started this podcast, you guys asked us how you can help us out and support us. Well, we are happy to announce that we've been sponsored by Manscaped, and it just so happens that the Super Bowl is happening this weekend, and Manscaped is here to bring you the new Beard Hedger Pro Kit, the absolute goat, of grooming and precision trimming, and you can get yourself a good little discount from manscaped.com if you use our code LBR20 at checkout for 20% off and free shipping. So in this Beard Hedger Pro Kit, you get everything you need to create your own signature look, and especially do it with ease. You get the Beard Hedger, which is a cordless trimmer that is also waterproof, so you can just shave in the shower. There's no mess. It is high precision, and you get one guard that has 20 adjustable lengths, so you don't need 20 different guards. You can just have one guard that is adjustable to 20 different lengths for high precision shaving. And in the kit you get also a bunch of things. You get like a beard balm, you get beard oil, shampoo, conditioner, you get a beard brush, you get beard scissors, you get a comb, you get a bunch of things, so definitely check out Manscaped. And of course, what better time to do it than now, especially as the Super Bowl is coming up and you want to look fresh for the ladies, especially if you're going out on that day. And definitely go and check out manscaped.com, use code LBR20 at checkout to get 20% off and free shipping. That's LBR20 for 20% off and free shipping. And thank you to Manscaped for sponsoring us, and back to the video.
You heard Doris, LBR20 to get 20% off and free shipping on manscaped.com. Show them some love, show us some love. Right. On to better, positive things, yeah? More? Right? I need the cheering up after that. Kamavinga, man. Super thrilled with this performance. Yes, he has a bit of an edge to him, which reminded me of his first season a couple of times this game, but all in all, superb going forward. Had some very good progressive passing, in his game today, and also putting in the dirty shift.
And I think something that needs to be added is the fact that going forward, he tried to take a lot of shots, and I think that is important, getting repetitions,
100%.
Trying to understand 100%. How to react in certain situations, because we have criticized him for his play in the final third before, and I kind of felt like this is something that he needs to improve. I kind of need like two things from Kamavinga going forward. I kind of need him to improve decision making. That is only going to happen with repetitions, playing in that situation, understanding how to react to it. So again, I felt his game today was positive. And the second thing I need him to improve is the fact that he's shot from distance. So again, you can practice like 20-30 shots in the nets every day, maybe 100 shots, but it's not the same thing as playing in a game match situation. So for me, him getting out those shots, I hope in the next match he kind of understands why it didn't happen for him today, and come next game he kind of does better, because I think when you're trying to score a goal, even be it from distance or be it from close range, you always have to be calm, and you always need to know you need to have that calmness to make the decision. And I kind of felt like players who lack confidence tend to rush their shots, kind of like Rodrigo is doing this season. And the best players, the better players, always know how to make a decision in a quick seconds, and that is something that comes with repetitions, with experience. So I kind of hope Kamavinga does a better job going of that moving forward. Maybe if not this season, hopefully next season.
100%. Especially his shot from outside the box, which I think was a curler to the right hand side of the post was pretty impressive. Even the other shot, I think, did it brush the post on the way out? It was kind of speculative. It wasn't the header, it was a long shot again. Did it brush the post, or was I tripping?
The only shot I remember brushing the post is his header, and I don't really remember the other one that you're talking about.
The other one might have gone wide. Right, the other one got saved by Gaeta. But yeah, the header was decent as well, like opening couple of minutes, right? With the set piece from Modric.
He even later on in the first half, I think he had another header on the ball. So I think the coaching staff especially kind of impressed upon him the need to be, more prolific. So I kind of think he was trying. He got the go ahead and he was trying to score goals, getting into good positions. And he kind of also said, I think in the like an interview before the game, that he kind of he wants to score a goal, and Ancelotti has promised to him that he's going to dance with him. So
Really?
I kind of think that he wants to make it happen. So the thing is, like, even I am excited to see that happen.
He looks like a very confident lad, especially doing press conference and pressers and stuff. Like, he just looks super relaxed, in his element, smiling. Yeah, you just look at him and he just oozes confidence. That's what I like about Camavinga, man. Just a very, very good kid. But yeah, super impressed. I would like to see more of this from Camavinga. This is what we bought him for. His two-way abilities is going to be a brilliant asset towards the pivotal part of the season coming up. Ricardo, Ashik was mentioning Suned. I hope he's listening to this and does something about it. Pure gold. Yeah. Like, Ashik has this tendency to basically laugh at my tears, man. You should stop doing that. It makes me question, like, do we support the same fucking team at times? Yeah, but big up Ashik. He was also saying Kama plays without fear. He doesn't let the occasion get to him. But without a clinical finisher this season, we need Jude's presence as a false nine. Ricardo was mentioning, because Ricardo, the team was somewhat poor in terms of creating direct chances. That's my biggest worry. Like, when I watch games, I just tend to shed hair. Like, I'm not even joking. When I watch the team trying to recycle possession, try to combine and do nothing with it in terms of creating, clear-cut chance, it just riles me up, man.
I think
I didn't grow up watching this Madrid.
I think this was true for first half, but second half, I think we kind of improved performance and we created better.
When Celta kind of came out to, do something, we had a better time, playing balls in behind. For a fact, yeah.
Okay, if a team is for like sitting 10 people and closing down space, obviously you're gonna have a tough time creating chances.
100%.
You need Celta to play football as well. I think in the second half, Real Madrid kind of created better chances, even ignoring the substitutions. I mean, before the 70th minute, I felt Real Madrid were better compared in the first, let's say 25 minutes. Is it? The first 25 minutes of the second half, Real Madrid were better than the first 45 minutes of the first. The 45 minutes of the first half. So,
holy shit! Okay, yeah, okay, right. I get your point.
Yeah, for
too much.
Real Madrid, first 25 minutes of the second half better than the first 45 that we saw.
Okay. Yeah. Speaking English, bro. But yeah, man. Ricardo was mentioning the team was somewhat poor in terms of creating direct chances. Most of what we created when a clear cut, this has been happening for at least the last 4 to 5 matches. That has been the constant theme,
Yeah, I also want to point out the fact that in football there's a zone 14. I kind of feel like there's area of the box, outside the box. Sorry, not the area of the box, area of the field outside the box, where if once you dominate it, you kind of get a lot of options to create chances. And I kind of felt Real Madrid, especially this season, has struggled with it because we don't really have a player playing there. When Jude plays, he kind of tends to occupy those spaces, half spaces around the box and everything. So it kind of does help Real Madrid. But like when you watch teams like City and Liverpool play, I think I wouldn't say Liverpool, but yeah, definitely I can talk about City. I'm not really aware about Liverpool. So when you watch teams like City play, when you watch teams like Leverkusen play, those teams will occupy those spaces, those important spaces, and create a lot of chances. So I think their chance creation comes from there. But Real Madrid, especially this season, I think we have been struggling a little bit creating chances from the midfield because we don't really have players attacking the offensive areas. So that is an area I definitely think that Real Madrid definitely need to improve this season, next season, coming season, everything. So that is an area I hope they do better as the season goes on.
100%. I learned something new. Zone 14. Thanks for that, Mo.
I've mentioned it before on this podcast as well. So.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. My memory's shite anyway. But yeah, Zone 14, I got to flex it to my mates. I know about Zone 14. They'll be like, what is Zone 14? Is it the sequel to District 9?
I need to make sure that I got the number right, but yeah, right. You get my feeling right.
Maybe I should flex it to Francesco and be like, Coach, what were we doing in Zone 14 today? He'll be like, how do you know Zone 14?
Before you do that, I definitely need to look it up and make sure that we get it right.
I'm just joking. I can't talk tactics to the boss. No chance. But yeah, Vinicius, right? Every post match, I come home to Vinny's antics, right? I just hope that this
I think
stops
Vinny needs to go to an
somewhere.
anger management thing sometimes.
Yeah, just like I've seen a lot of people being angry, lose their wits. We had one of the most hot-headed people to ever step on a football pitch, Pepe, right? That man could kill someone in his rage. But yet, when we saw Pepe, we knew there was a controlled, methodical plan to how we basically went it, or how we basically took it out on opponents. Vinny is pure idiocy.
I mean, that
Idiocy at
is.
its
I think
peak.
Pepe and Vinicius, those situations are completely different. Pepe was Pepe is somebody who was like naturally aggressive when he was playing the game. Vinicius, it isn't about being aggressive. Vinicius, for me, it feels like it's more about the fact that he doesn't feel the protection, so he kind of gets angry when he's not being afforded this. He kind of feels like everybody else is getting a level of protection that he does not. So for me, that is the difference between Pepe and Vinicius. And I mean, I kind of don't understand the comparison between the two, but I mean, both of them are being petulant. I guess that is the comparison. But like
That
Pepe
is
was,
that is the comparison. That
but
is the
like Pepe
only
is like
comparison.
completely different thing. Pepe was like more aggressive, and I have seen him lose it. I mean, I don't know if you remember, but he kind of went out like he kind of went crazy on the Hetafe player. If you remember that
He
particular game,
stomped on him.
huh? Man, he
Stomped on
literally
him, right?
kicked him. He like literally like
Yeah.
kicked him in the stomach and everything. He was kind of like attacking him, and I think he got like 10 matches banned, and that was like kind of. I think he got away lightly. Today's game, it would have been a much longer suspension. But
All I'm asking is
for
Vinny has
Vinicius,
to
it's more
go.
about the fact that he kind of feels like he's not being protected enough. And I think Ancelotti said this in the
Fuck protection. This guy deserves no protection. Someone who is openly requesting the ref. Look at me. He's following me. Is never going to get protected.
I mean,
The
the
more
thing is like Ancelotti is a Vinicius
What a
kind of
fucking
gets kicked
loser,
in the
man.
head and
Honestly,
a foul
this
doesn't get called against
motherfucker.
him. I don't really
Honestly.
understand why you're getting angry with him. I mean, you do understand.
Bro,
Vinicius is
just
a Real Madrid player,
he
right?
needs to just go watch. His peers, guys like Neymar. Go watch a fucking Maradona. Yes, it's a different
Man,
time.
Neymar used
time
to
capsule,
roll around
right?
like he was a bowling pin. So I kind of
I
don't understand why you're asking him to go
I
watch Neymar.
get the dive allegations, but come on, man, do it all you want. That
Allegations?
won't fetch you a red.
Allegations?
But let me put this straight. Right? Like that won't fetch you a red. If he does this, like against
See, the thing is,
someone
like,
in the Champions League,
the first thing
he's
I
going
said,
to get sent
the
off.
first thing I
That's it,
said
man.
was like Vinicius needs to calm it down. But the thing is, like, you kind of need to understand where Vinicius
We
is
have
coming
been saying
from.
that. We have been
No,
saying
no,
that
no,
for
no,
a
no,
year.
no. You might be saying it, but you don't understand where Vinicius is coming from. You are comparing him to Pepe when there's like completely different situations. And I kind of understand your frustration with Vinny. He needs to do better because it ends up costing us the games. Most of the time, Vinicius is the guy who's creating most chances for us, and when he's out of the game, like Real Madrid definitely look even more toothless than they do regularly. But the thing is, like, Vinicius is that way because there's a certain reason. I mean, as a Real Madrid fan, I'm going to defend Vinicius. I'm not going to go and say, man, this guy's shit, or whatever you said. But for me personally, yeah, definitely Vinicius needs to improve.
Defend
but
him
I kind of understand
all
it.
you want, but I want you to come here and defend him when he loses us a game all on his own. Yeah, like I'm just telling you, I don't want that to happen, but it's just rational to go by what he's been doing, right? Elite players, no matter what they do, right? No matter how much they get kicked, we all know, right? In most games,
Okay. You said
tricky
no matter
wingers,
how they get the kick, how
attacking
matter they
wingers,
get kicked. Do they get kicked in their heads with referees not calling it?
I have no words.
So I mean, you
he
don't
can
have
vent his
words because it doesn't
frustration.
happen.
I don't care.
No,
I don't
you
care.
don't
I
have
don't
words because
care.
it doesn't happen. I mean, we sit here and criticize La Liga referees for not giving players adequate protection, for not whistling the fouls that need to be called against Real Madrid. But
What
then
happened
at
in
the
the
same time, you
Champions
come
League
and
then?
say that
What happened in the
Vinicius
Champions League
shouldn't
then?
do
Couple of days
Vinicius
ago.
shouldn't do that. Vinicius
What
shouldn't-
happened in the Champions
Did
League?
you see
then
actually
couple of
what
days
happened in
ago?
the Champions League before Vinicius pushed them? By the way, which was made out to be as if Vinicius was choking the player. But what happened before Vinicius pushed them?
Any sorts of
So
aggression
the thing
is
is,
going to
like,
go against us.
there's a lot of things
Simple
that
as-
happen in the pitch. Sometimes it happens, and I understand that Vinicius was wrong in pushing him
Guys
away.
like
No, Vinicius is wrong in pushing him away, and he
Guys
definitely
like
needs to
Ramos,
work on
guys
it.
like Pepe
But to
had
come
a
out,
better,
come out and say that
better
Vinicius is being
control,
crazy or whatever. I mean, I don't
better
understand that.
control on the emotion getting to their head. Simple
Okay,
as.
the only bit I agree
they
with you over
played-
there is like the Vinicius needs to have better control on emotions. Okay, that is a point that we both agree on. I can understand where Vinicius is coming from. You don't agree with it? Fine, let's move on.
I just hope, the Vinny defenders, they just wake up and realize, right? Like, yes, we can feel sorry for him. I was of the same
No, man,
emotion
I don't get it. I
as
mean,
you.
let's just move on. Okay, this topic is useless.
Even before, let me
No, no, man, let's just move on.
let me just round this off by saying this. You don't have to react to this, but I was just on your side as well, right? I don't support Barcelona. I support Brazil. I support Real Madrid, right?
Man, I
Vinny is
don't
as
support
important
Brazil.
as
I don't support Barcelona. I only support Real Madrid. And I'm gonna say this: Vinny needs
right,
better
right,
protection.
right.
The only thing I agree with you is
You
like
didn't
he
let me
needs to
finish.
control his emotions more.
You didn't fucking let me finish. But I have to say this, that I was of the same emotion that you are having right now, right? I felt sorry for Winnie, that people are basically ganging upon him, including players who are basically getting to the head, which is again down to him being openly a victim of basically being wound up. The more you let people wind you up, obviously they're going to throw the same shit at you again. That's one side of the equation. The other side is basically, after a while, right? After a while, the more reactive you get, people are going to look to that and basically get you sent off, which he's basically getting baited at every other week. At first, I used to be calmer with my friends telling me, man, that's La Liga. I used to be like, fuck, man, I can't, associate myself with that. Like, yes, La Liga has been shit for years. Yes, the refereeing has been blind for years. I get it. Then I watched the Champions League. Same thing happens. There's no difference. So I need this to change. If Vinicius has to basically have a legacy with us, he needs to rip this out of his system. No matter what. Go to anger management classes like what Mo said. That is a big statement. That is not defending him. Go to fucking anger management classes, get your shit sorted, and then we play football. That's it. Simple as. But we move. Jabara Obala Gonta says, Ala Madrid, Ashik was saying an unnecessary yellow from Vinny. Mengueza knew he was going to get a yellow. Vinny could have walked away and just piled on the pressure on Mengueza to commit a foul. That's what, intelligent people do. Jabara also says Vinny needs Mbappe by his side to take some of the heat from the opposition. They are clearly targeting him because he is a threat. Man, best players always got targeted all throughout the course of history. You go ask Puskas, you wake him up from his grave, you ask him, he'll be like, yes, I was, kicked by 4 people left and right. It's just the way of the game. Ashi was also mentioning, and as a reply to Jabata's comment. But yeah, like I clearly get the two sides of the spectrum. Me and Mo is basically a reflection
the thing
of
is,
how
like,
people
you
are
were saying
divided.
something that we kind of do agree on. Like, I mean, I don't understand. Like, the thing is, like, I know if Vinny kind of keeps on reacting to it, there's gonna be more of it. And we've talked about this before, and I think we kind of said that he needs to calm down. He needs to be better in dealing with certain situations. But the thing is, all of that is valid, but it is also valid to say that Vinny is that way because he's getting unfair. Like, he doesn't really get the protection that big players do. And I mean, in La Liga, every week we are here complaining about how the refereeing is, how we're not getting calls in our favor and everything. Yep. But then at the same time, when we see who is the guy who's not getting calls in his favor? It's almost invariably Vinicius. Who's the most foul player in La Liga? It is Vinicius. When he's not getting those calls, when he's getting kicked left, right, and center, that is how anybody's gonna react, be it Vinicius or be it anybody. But I mean, I understand where you say, yeah, Vinicius should be better in dealing with certain situations. I agree with what you said over there. And at the start of the thing, I said that Vinicius needs to control his emotions. He needs to go to do whatever he can to control his emotions, keep it in check. And I mean, the thing is, like, okay, let's come to the NBA, right? The best player in NBA is LeBron James, and the one thing that he always says is, like, people always try to rile him up, but he knows he has to keep in control because he needs to be on the court. Because if he's off the court, the team is not going to be helped. And I kind of think, and I think Vinicius needs to understand that, because on the pitch, Vinicius is Real Madrid's best player. Vinicius needs to be on the pitch. If he's not on the pitch, Real Madrid are not going to be as good as they can be. So over there, completely agreed. But then there's the thing where I'm a Real Madrid fan and I'm going to defend Vinicius because I think that he has been unfairly targeted, especially when it comes to getting calls, especially when it comes to fouls, especially when it comes to racist abuse. And I think those are two facts that don't change. They aren't mutually exclusive. They're inclusive. One led to the other, and I think both need to be done. The refs need to give him better protection, but then Vinicius also needs to improve dealing with situations like this.
Well, I agree with most of what you said, but yeah, where we disagree on. But I'll add one more thing. Since you wanted to end this before, then I added something, and then you added, I'm going to break the rule again, end it on
I mean, there
one
was a
more
comment,
small
which is why
notion.
we kind of brought it up. So
No, one small notion.
okay, it's
It
okay.
just
No worries.
popped up in my head, which I wouldn't remember for the next episode. Which is like it's inevitable that this is going to happen again, right? Um, I'm not a behavioral specialist or someone who is well versed in psychology or anything, right? But growing up watching top level football, right? Watching our side, watching top sides all across Europe, I've had one takeaway from guys who basically dive around, who asks for a foul, who basically yeah intimidates the referee into getting a decision, who like Winnie, people who feel hard done by, the more they do that, things doesn't go their way. Like history has told me that the people who expect for protection, or people who expect referees to give them some sort of a reprieve, after a nasty tackle or nasty foul, time and time again, never really works out that way. But people who are much more honest, like, I'm not saying Vinny is diving. Vinny is not as bad as Neymar, is miles away from it, in fact, right? He doesn't dive much. Like, he doesn't dive at all. Let's just say, like, I would give that to Vinny. He's super clean in that regard, 100%. No doubts, right? But compare Vinny to someone who is super focused at, like, even the best professionals might lose it from time to time. But if someone, takes a player X out, I can't fucking, my brain is gone to the mud, right? I can't really think of an example. I will come up with it, in the next episode or so. But someone who is much more calmer gets on with his game after a couple of fouls.
I'm gonna just
They'll
ask you this,
eventually
right?
know.
Just one thing, okay? At the start of the season, we were praising Jude for being calm, right?
Yeah,
What happened as the season went on?
peer pressure, influences.
Yeah. I mean, in that way, we might as well sell Vinicius because
Still, Jude is the guy who is calming down Vinny more
so
than on one
that's
occasion.
what I'm talking about. The thing is, like, these things happen, especially when you get a continuous target and when you're not getting calls in your favor. You perceive that you're not getting the adequate protection that you need. I mean, it happened to Vinicius. Vinicius is like getting it dialed up to 11 because he's shown that he can react to it in emotional ways. But then even players like Jude are responding to it, like are getting.
Even Rodrigo is doing that. My boy, who used to never do that, he's like, elbowing the guy. Like, I've never seen him do this shit.
Yeah, so
Benzema never did it. Cristiano rarely did it. Bale definitely didn't do it much. Like, see that these guys
Cristiano
used,
never
like,
did
just
it. Are you serious?
Not to this extent.
Yeah, okay, I get it, but the thing is, like, people kind of react to different situations in different ways. So Vinicius definitely needs to improve. But I mean, this is something that there's a reason why RMTV keeps on broadcasting videos every week, and it's simply because our players do not get the adequate protection that they need. And I think that there can be two truths. There's no just one truth. There are two truths here. First is that Vinicius needs to improve his behavior, dealing with these situations, especially. And the second thing is that there need to be better protection of players like Vinicius.
Hopefully. I just hope, but that's never going to happen with La Liga. No protection is going to happen. So I just hope he gets some inner peace, some zen, practice some meditating, and
like
I don't know.
Ashik said, he needs to be like water.
Be like water, my friend. But yeah, like, I've vented enough. I hope people listening in won't take my views especially too harshly. Many people are gonna be on Mo's side, I know, for a fact, because he has a reason for it. For me,
he said Bale never showed any aggression because he was never on the field.
But yeah, these guys needs to mature up a bit. That's my only request. But yeah, good goal again. Keep being clutch, my friend. That's the way to shut up your critics. That's the way to answer your critics, answer opposition fans, answer La Liga, the officials, everybody. Vinny is coming up with the goods, and I'm so happy for him, honestly. Because if he wasn't, I'm telling you, if he wasn't performing and still doing all that antics, people wouldn't be this kind at all. So he's basically giving himself some time, giving himself some credit in the bank to basically, like go again. So yeah, I really thank the stars, thank his form, especially coming into this year. 10 goals already. He is our savior, basically, up top. If he doesn't click, we don't have a chance. No matter what the magnitude of a game is, if Vinny is off it, we are finished. Right? So we just need to wrap him up, keep him in bubble wrap. Like I used to say about Benzema, this is the time. Vinny has to be protected. Vinny has to be given some rest, rotated in. Like especially after the international break, he's not going to get any time to rest. So I just hope we manage him a bit better. Try to ease him off. But yeah, overall, very impressive performance. You didn't really touch up on his performance, but he has the opportunity.
I mean, for me, more than the goal, I would kind of praise him for the own goal. That cross was like pretty good, and putting it into
that
the area of
missed it.
uncertainty, and Gaeta missed it, and it went off of the defender. I forget his name. I'm sorry, I think it was Carlos.
Was
Dominguez.
it Starfelt?
I think it's Carlos Dominguez.
Dominguez.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, so correct me if I'm wrong. But the thing is, I kind of enjoyed his performances, and Vinicius has always been Real Madrid's most creative player. He's the most dangerous player that Real Madrid have. Even when he wasn't on target, he was creating a lot of chances, dribbling players out. He tried one out to AJ Strick that I didn't think really worked out, but overall I'm just pretty pleased with Vinicius' performances today. Apart from obviously the Mingueza thing, but we would we've almost written a novel about it, so we don't really need to go talk about it anymore.
Even Mingueza was like, bro, really? What you doing? Remember? They showed a clip of them hugging.
My comrade was saying Mingueza was going up to him and offering him a word of advice.
Oh yeah, mine said as well, ESPN, right? Yeah. That guy is so annoying, the Spanish guy. Holy shit. How does Derek Ray sit through that, man?
This is the first time I kind of heard Mario Suarez. I've never seen him actually. I heard him.
He's an ex-player, right? I remember seeing his name pop up. Atleti, yeah, I remember. But yeah, who else? Some good performances. Fede, decent again. He's playing with
I think Real Madrid, Real Madrid are gonna. Apart from Rodrigo, Fede is another player that Real Madrid definitely need him to be in form, going into the latter half of the season. And I think we kind of keep touching up on it. And I think somewhere, Fede needs to get a rest. So he can recharge his batteries, be the Duracell that he is. Even Duracell runs out at times. So for me personally, I kind of feel Fede, his performances aren't at the level that they were in the first half of the season, and that is why Real Madrid are definitely struggling to a little bit. I mean, okay, not everything can be put on Fede, but there's also a part of it when it
still decent. I felt like he was good.
I mean,
he wasn't his exceptional
decent, but the thing is, at the start of the season, Fede was let's say an 80 or 90. Right now he's 70 or 80, between 70 and 80, and before he was 80 and 90. So for me personally, I kind of need to see more from Fede, because he makes those runs, he carries the ball across the lines, he puts the ball into dangerous areas. Today he was he did it to a certain extent, but not as well as he used to do it before. So I hope Fede going into the latter half, the important part of the season is on top form, 100% giving 100 out of 100, in the important games. That is what I expect from Fede, and I hope he delivers that.
100%. Quickly, Modric.
Yeah, Modric was pretty impressive today.
My question is, again, who is the better set piece taker? It has to be Modric, right? It has to be. See,
the thing is, whenever we talk about Modric's set pieces, it's invariably when he's there's been a goal. And the thing is, because Cruz is regular, he takes more, and we see more of the set pieces fail. Like I said, 10% of your set pieces are going to go into the goal. And Real Madrid this season have been one of the best teams, one of the better teams when it comes to set pieces. Yeah, and I think today Modric did well, especially because but then we also have to remember that we got double digits into corners and set pieces. So we kind of got a lot of chances out of them. We managed to convert two. So this is something that happens. I mean, if you look at the percentage, maybe we kind of 15 to 20% conversion rate today. So it's over a period of time, it kind of evens out. So for me, there's a reason why Toni Kroos takes them. There's a reason why the coaching staff does trust Toni Kroos to take them. So I wouldn't really say, Modric is a better or whatever.
Yeah, it was a fun question too.
I mean, both of them are good. Both of them are good when it comes to corners. But I think Cruz is definitely the better one when it comes to free kicks. But I think overall Real Madrid definitely need a player who is more dangerous on free kicks. because I think Real Madrid definitely missed that kind of a player.
100%. We don't have any real free kick takers, but Modric in general really, ran the show for large parts. Was instrumental in kind of linking up, the midfield and attack. Popped up
When the
in the
lineup
wide
came on, I was
areas.
actually worried. I was kind of worried about the fact that I didn't hope we were going to miss Toni Kroos too much. But I think Modric just played today, kind of covered up the gaps, and I think it definitely helped that Celta in the first half weren't as aggressive, and even Celta like in the second half going forward they were kind of like toothless. So definitely helped out. But Modric's performance was like brilliant. Whenever he had the ball, he was conducting the play well, and he was creating a lot of chances for like not exactly chances, but he was creating good scenarios for Real Madrid to take advantage of.
100%. I just like him, being in his flow. It's an absolute sight to behold. I just hope he's arriving at the right time, like I wanted. So yeah. Fingers crossed, man. Fingers crossed. Big Champions League games coming up. He is a must. Right. Who else? Vasquez. We kind of touched upon it. Brilliant.
I
7 out of 10.
think we can't like enter this program without talking about Arda Güler. Finally gets his chance. I was kind of crying
100%.
out for him, and that goal was pretty well taken. I think Ceballos played a. Oh yeah, I believe the chat asked you to spend 10 minutes on Danny Ceballos and praising him like what was it, Kevin De Bruyne? But
That was Jacob. That was Jacob. His fucking audacity, But
yeah, man,
it was a
I
decent
think
ball.
that pass for Güler was well, and I'll tell you this thing. That finish from Güler was like for me was pretty brilliant because
Holy shit.
the way he took the
Holy
ball past the keeper, because there was a situation earlier in the game where Hostelu was in a similar situation. He had to take the ball past the goalkeeper and finish it in,
Yeah.
and he wasn't able to do it. But Güler, the first touch that he got, he completely takes the goalkeeper out, and the finish even then, he managed to squeeze it in between the oncoming defender and the goalpost. So for me, that finish was also pretty brilliant. You need to stay calm
on his weak foot as well.
Yeah, off the weave, and this is something that I always keep on saying. When there's a guy who this is the difference between a good player and a world class player. A good player also has the same qualities, but the thing is like they don't what they struggle in compared to the world class players is like the speed of decision making. And with Arda, when he's on the ball, you can see that speed of decision making. But that is why like with this kid, I have a lot of high hopes, and I hope he does a good job for him, in the future.
100%. I expected a bit more of a extravagant celebration, but it was pretty laid back. I like the coldness. A huge fan of that laid back
the kid
celebration
was
as well.
like overcome with emotions, and you could see how
Probably.
happy everybody around him was with the fact that he finally got his goal.
People lost it. People absolutely lost it. Like like Real Madrid socials will be flooding with Turkish delights. Especially after that.
I mean, it wouldn't hurt if they send one our way as well. Some Turkish delight for us. After spending so much energy, talking about Vinicius.
100%. Who wouldn't like some ice cream? I would love to have some ice cream. Fucking hell, man! The last time I had ice cream probably would be a year ago. It has been a while. Thank you for reminding me. But should look to get that covered, after the pod. But Arda Güler, high hopes. This is something that we all dreamt of, and watching unfold was special, but I gotta, tell Sid not to, spoil it so early, because he posted in the chat, and that's how I knew it went in before it kind of happened on my stream. This is the way forward, right? The kid has confidence. Give him minutes. You never know. We saw against City how. Like a couple of years ago, not last year, holy shit, but a couple of years ago when, guys like Ceballos, guys like Camavinga, guys like Jesus Vallejo, when they came on and changed the game, Arda Güler probably would be tasked with such a monumental, operation, sometime in the Champions League. So this is, I think, the perfect audition. In my opinion, like if there's a chance, he should be starting games, right? I know this is the crunch period. You can't really, are we going away to the El Sadar
so.
next week?
I think so.
Yeah. So away the El Sadar is not exactly fit for an Arda Güler introduction, but yeah, he should be getting 20 minutes, 25 minutes, consistently, so that he gets to build some sort of confidence. And
I think something to keep in mind is like Arda Güler is now the youngest Turkish player to score in La Liga. And he's the 6th youngest Real Madrid player to score in La Liga. So, a little bit of history.
Oh, who is the youngest Turkish player?
Arda Güler.
Oh, he's the youngest. Okay,
Yeah.
sixth youngest Real Madrid.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
right.
don't ask me who's the youngest Real Madrid player, because I don't really have an answer for that. Probably Raul or somebody.
Raul scored at 17,
Yeah.
right?
So maybe him.
Yeah, maybe him. Right. Yabara Blancota was mentioning we need Carlo threatening to quit for Fede to bang them goals in again. Not good enough from such a lethal shooter. The more I look at it, he's not lethal. He has immense power. That's what makes
I
him
think
lethal.
Fede Valverde goal is going to come this season. I mean, he's playing
It's
in
gonna
deeper
come
areas, so
for
it's
sure.
not happening. But
Yeah,
definitely expect one to happen this season.
But he like people put him in the okay. Lampard is such a is like I'm looking for something in the middle. Who can it be? Yeah, someone who is exemplary at long shots. He's not that guy. Like he can pop them off once in a while. But he's not gonna get 3 in 10 shots go in. No, he's not that guy. No chance. So yeah, don't expect too much from Fede. Even if he's playing, in a much advanced role, like he's not a clinical outside the box goal scorer. Marcus Bellingham was mentioning Arda Güler playing will bring problems for Luka Modric. That's the reason why Carlo will not play him for this season. You have a point, but Arda can be played up front, man. He can be deployed in a front two or behind the front two, compared to a Modric who can be, the deep lying sub. But you do have a point. The minutes are kind of being shared in a sense. But I guess that's pretty much it, people. I think we have covered pretty much everything. Lunin really didn't have much to do.
Just a
Go on,
small
Mo.
word for Rudiger, man. Rudiger was influential in both of the first 2 goals he scored. So
My bad.
definitely need to give him credit.
100%. Rudiger has been the difference in our set pieces this year. Especially, last year we were crying out for goals from corners, and this year the cries have fallen on the ears of Rudiger, and man is stepping up and he enjoys every single tussle while waiting for a corner. It's just super happy to see, and he is someone who just transmits positive energy whenever I see him, especially among his teammates. Defensively, we didn't say much about Rudiger. Has been 8 out of 10, apart from maybe a couple of games, throughout the season. He has been rock solid. I would say this, okay, this is a bit too early, but I would argue and tell this is it might be a bit of a controversial statement, but more, bear with me. I think Rudiger's peak this year has been better than the peak of Militao. Would you disagree with that?
I mean, Rudiger is like incredibly experienced, and he's like, let's say he's at the peak of his career. So Militao is somebody who has potential to reach there. Maybe he hasn't yet reached there, but the thing is, like, he got ACL injury, and we don't know what kind of form he's going to come back. But I would agree that so far what Rudiger has done this season hasn't been anything that we've seen in recent years from Militao.
There you go. But yeah, anything to add regarding Rudiger? But apart from that,
I definitely agree with what you said. You said 8 out of 10. I would say Rudiger for most games this season for me has been 9 out of 10. Maybe I have a little bit bias in my eyes. But overall, I don't really have much more to say. Rudiger, what an incredible player, what an incredible defender. And I have said this before, in previous podcasts as well. Rudiger has transformed himself into the perfect Real Madrid defender. What does he do? He stops transitions on his own. He stops corners on his own. He stops aerial balls on his own. I mean, he does everything on his own. Like today, there was this one cross that was coming in from Celta Vigo. I think it was a free kick and free kick or corner, and Falamendi totally forgot the fact that he had to head the ball. And I believe it was Manu Sanchez I don't exactly remember the name of the Celta player, but I think it was Manu Sanchez who kind of guessed in a header in that situation. I believe it was at the end of the first half. So Rudiger has to deal with a situation like this, where only Nacho is somewhat decently capable of heading out balls, and when Tchouaméni is playing, obviously Tchouaméni as well. But Rudiger has marshaled this defense as the best defense in La Liga, so you have to give him immense credit for that. Rudiger, if we hadn't had Rudiger this season, I mean, Real Madrid definitely would have struggled.
100% would have fallen apart. I would argue. But yeah, Ashik was mentioning, just going back to Rodrigo. Remember, Joselu has the same number of goals from the bench this season as Rodrigo, who is the starter. Yeah. Ashik was also mentioning Rudiger is becoming the German Ramos for us. Oblong Jabara was mentioning, Fede is definitely a threat from outside the box. Last year's proof of that. Nevertheless, he needs to score more goals. He's a threat. I didn't say he wasn't a threat, but yeah, people make him out to be someone exceptionally prolific from outside the box. He's not that guy. He might grow into that guy. He's only 25. There's still plenty of time to polish his shooting boots. But yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. People, big up the chat, big up every single one of you.
Before we go into the closing thing, there's just one thing. I kind of looked it up online, and the youngest Real Madrid player to score in La Liga is a guy called Alberto Rivera, and he scored. Sorry, Alberto Rivera. He scored in
the 70s,
1995, June 10th, 1995. And guess which team he scored against?
Barcelona.
Celta Vigo.
Celta Vigo.
Yeah. Okay. And the second youngest player to score for Real Madrid is like Raul.
Raul.
Yeah, 1 month difference. No, not even 1 month. It's like kind of like 14 or 15 days.
Against Atletico.
Yeah, Raul against Atleti.
What a beauty. Yeah. Right. Raul just reminds me of Indian kids. When I watch that goal back, like I wasn't there to watch it, but in the replay, he just looks like the next door Indian kid, celebrating. Super lanky, super lean. But baby face as well. But big up every single one of you in the chat. Big up people who sends us feedback, after post match, especially, negative and positive. It's all welcome. It really means a lot to us that people are really helping us to fine tune our pods, whether it be any technical difficulties. If you don't agree to some of the shit we say, I'm pretty sure people are going to be a bit riled up by what I said. I even kind of swear that we at one point, which was completely out of emotion. I love both the Brazilian boys. They mean a lot to me. It's just like a proud uncle, or a dad. I'm not too old to be a dad yet, but fucking hell, man, it's hitting there, slowly. But I would just like them to be, better version of themselves. That's the only thing I ask of them. But do keep sending them in, people, and watch out for the Big 3 show on Monday. Right, our first EP was released on our audio platforms on I think Thursday. So it was very well received. It had over I think 100 plays for a debut episode. I think it's pretty fair. I've heard a lot of good things come out of it as well. So people, if you do like what we're doing, go check out the Big 3 socials. It'll be the description of the audio episode as well. Go check them out and show some love. There'll be a lot of collaborations between us and Half Faith. Hopefully come the Clásico as well. Like even in the Champions League, it's gonna be a little tricky how we kind of manage the schedule, but I'm pretty sure we are gonna cook something for you guys. But big up our partners Manscaped again. MD28 to get 20% off and free shipping on manscaped.com. Go check them out. Pioneers of below the waist grooming, but they have a huge catalog of products ranging from loungewear, beard waxes, deodorants, you name it. Big up our OG partners, Real Madrid Committee on Instagram as well. Go check them out. The link is in the description below. They run a brilliant fan page. Go give them a follow if you like what you see. Big up Sid and our team from Madrid for their hard yards. They're, I think, still talking to fans outside the Bernabeu. So if you like, some of the questions we pose to fans, unlike some of the others who try to do it, we would appreciate that you show some love to, what we have been doing for the past, 5 or 6 months. Especially smash the likes, it goes a long way. I would like to reiterate that. But man, big up all of you guys, man. Jabada, Ashik, Prince Arthur, who was here before, Marcus Benningham, Ricardo. Jabada was mentioning it's all love. Big up to y'all and great work. Much love. Super humbling, Jabada. So until next time, people. Hala Madrid.
Hala Madrid.